everybody, Josh the RV Nerd with Bish's RV, finally getting some updated footage for you on the little 15 TB Geo Pro. This is currently the smallest and lightest of the entire Geo Pro family. This thing comes in less than 16 feet, it's less than 2,800 pounds dry, but where you gotta watch this one, where it's a little bit tricky, is they wanted to make sure you still had some good cargo capacity, so the GVW on this is closer to 3,800 pounds, which knocks it out of most minivan and Jeep towability. So be really careful on that. There's a lot of people gonna say, oh yeah, no, Jeep towable, absolutely. Well, maybe, you know, Jeep Commander, but or Grand Cherokee, but not Wrangler. So kind of keep that in mind. This is a there's a lot of stuff going on in a very small amount of space on this one. It is a, I call it twin to king vertible bed system, where you've got either twin beds or twin benches with a do-it-all Dinofa dinette kind of situation with a floating table that actually kind of acts as the bridge for the bed mode, but you can use it for, you know, dining, you can kick the table out, you can use it just for sitting down, you can do a little laptop work on the inside, especially considering every single household outlet in this RV is live off the battery if you activate the factory standard inverter on this. It's a 1,000 watt inverter, which is probably not going to be enough to do some real heavy lifting like coffee makers and whatnot, but some light duty kind of stuff, like I said, charging laptops and things, maybe running a CPAP machine, depending on where and how you camp. This could be good. Now, the one we're looking at today is actually already spoken for, and it's been ordered with something I've only talked about a lot and haven't been able to show, the additional solar panel that you can put up on the roof of this one. Because it comes with a 30 amp standard charge controller, you can add more panels, and this one, we're actually getting to see that done today. And really, I think the biggest downfall of this one, trying to be fair, is it's a wet bath. You can do the 3 S's. You can sit, S-I-T, shower and shave, don't report me to HR, all at one time. You can even reach around the corner and flip your bacon and eggs if you're so inclined. And that's probably going to be the number one thing that disqualifies it for a lot of people. But I've also talked to a lot of people like, I want an RV like with no bathroom. Well, it's about as close as you're gonna get. Now, this thing is pretty small, and it's tight quarters in here. It's not intended to be a big, giant, you know, bring the whole family kind of camper. Although, I've actually had some small families who are co-sleepers look at something like this, because that folds down into one giant mega bed. It's worked for them, you know, with limited tow vehicle capacities where some other campers simply do not. And that's kind of the cool thing with camping. I could see this being a solo camper. I could see it being a couples camper. You know, everybody camps a little bit differently. It's just a matter of what works for you. And despite being close quarters, I'm going to stay out of fisheye wide-angle lens mode today because, frankly, I just don't like it. Now, up top here, we've got a full-size air conditioner in a small box. And with the laminated roof construction and everything that they have on this, it's going to keep its cabin temperature in here pretty comfortably as long as that furnace is running. The interesting thing here is these are a short sidewall. They're only 6'1" on the sidewall, but they have about a 5-inch arch because it's two 2.5-inch vaulted sections that seam together. And if you kind of want to see what that actually looks like, assuming I remember, and if I forget, leave me a note that says, hey, dummy, you forgot the link, and if you use those exact words, I will not be offended. I've got a full factory video tour showing you from chassis to finished product how these things kind of come together. Now, our converter down here for a lot of years, Rockwood was not using a auto detect, you know, lead acid or lithium battery converter, and they're doing that now. They've been doing that for a little while, thankfully. Table's fully free floating, and we're going to get to see some of the benefits of that later here in this video. But what's really interesting, this is a tiny box that actually has some of the best viewing capacity versus the square footage of the RV versus almost, you know, any RV that I think I've seen in a long time. And this little guy here, they're still doing their whole command center over here. They call it WeRV, and they even have their own app, but truly it's just LCI1 control. And if I use my foot to use the force to activate that thing, you see it's also motion sensitive, which is cool. And because this thing is so small, the one button, it's like the One Ring from the Lord of the Rings. One button to rule all of the lights. Although, if you're feeling froggy, you can hop on over and still clickety-clack like a railroad track those things off and on. This is pocket screwed cabinetry, and they've upgraded their cabinet doors from years past. They used to use this mitered system, and it was basically not holding up as well as they would have liked long term. So they bulked up this cabinet construction to match the rest of like the Mini Lite, the Ultra, the Signature construction here. It's all very similar. They still have the Wi-Fi Ranger, which is essentially an integrated, technically a signal access point, but for most folks, the easiest way you can describe it is basically like a router. Now this TV can pivot around. We're going to get to see that in a little bit here. But if you want to pivot it toward, actually, this thing could be totally toilet TV certified. If I'm feeling like it, I might check that out later. I don't know. But this is a 12-volt TV and soundbar kind of all-in-one entertainment system right here. It's becoming very common, very popular on these things that have some level of, like the phrase off-grid or off-road. They're not as well defined as they need to be. I like to call this a light-duty off-pavement camper because I think that is probably one of the best, most accurate descriptors of this thing right here. You might notice the windows here. What you don't see is those little annoying strings hanging down for the shades. That is because, as you will see, 1, 2, 3, alakazam! We have night roller blinds through the entire RV, which is very, very cool. Again, the two individual benches or single twin beds fold down into one. I call it King Vertible bed. It is a funky, wacky bed size, so kind of keep that in mind. And they did a good job putting any and all storage all around this thing, anywhere, everywhere they really could or had the opportunity. They really used a lot of space very effectively on this one, I think. Now, some interesting things over in the kitchen. You do have that pop-up power tower there in the kitchen area, which I think is kind of cool. That also doubles as a wireless phone charger in the down position, or if you want to try to balance your phone on it. I don't think I'd do that, but I guess you could. And the 3-burner stovetop here, though. I would prefer this model myself to have a 2-burner stovetop. So you wonder, why don't they do that? Well, because in all of the Geo Pros, they don't do that. So they tend not to do it for just a one-off, even if it might make that model a little bit better. Thankfully, it does have that fold-down cover to really kind of maximize the coverage there. The convection microwave down here is very cool, especially considering any Geo Pro that was propane oven capable now has a propane oven standard. So at least you do have the ability to outfit that with that convection microwave, and you can still do some cookies and biscuits cooking in there, assuming you have park power. So that can kind of be a little bit of a mismatch with something that is really billed and presented as, you know, off-road, off-grid, whatever the case may be, but, you know, kind of keep that in mind. Now, put you in the driver's seat here. I'm sitting over on the door side, aka the driver's side, not the door side. I'm looking at the door side of the RV. I'm sitting on the aka poop side of the RV right now. When you're sitting over here, the views are pretty awesome. And once again, that TV can pivot around for some very easy viewing there. Now, speaking of viewing, but not as easy as it could be, I'm glad Rockwood's been doing this longer than just about anybody. They're the ones that proved, yes, you can in fact install a shade direct from the factory. The bottom-up flip, things like that. That is an industry-wide change as a result of a lot of input from a lot of viewers. Not exclusively on my videos here, but I've been told due to a lot of feedback from folks like you on my videos here. So keep it up. Your input can truly make a difference. Every Rockwood or Flagstaff, because they're the same thing, has that XL vent fan. Normally they're located in the bathroom, but this is a smaller, different type of bathroom, as we're about to see right here. And they wanted to still put it somewhere. And because this one doesn't have a normal cooking situation stovetop vent hood, they wanted to put it up here, where at least you can get some heat exhausted from the cooktop. The good news is you're not going to be hot boxing yourself after you eat some Hot Pockets over here in the bathroom. Well, looking over, I realized I actually got a little bit ahead of myself. I apologize. Let's talk about the refrigerator. That is a 12-volt compressor fridge. They only use, it's like a 5.3 cubic foot size. So it's a smaller size that cools more easily and doesn't require quite as much pull off the batteries. I believe it is Energy Star certified. I might be mistaken on that. I wish I hadn't opened my mouth. I do apologize. Sometimes I get that kind of messed up. Solar charge controller, your furnace controller right over here. Actually, furnace and air conditioning controller. But what's interesting is they finally started adding just a refrigerator dedicated power switch, which is kind of cool. In case you really just want to hard shut the fridge off, you can do that. There's some battery conservation reasons for doing so. Now, every single household outlet that you see in this RV is already wired to a factory standard 1,000 watt inverter. And if you're looking at the Barley Popinator, aka the bottle pop opener, aka the thing that opens Dad's medicine, right there, the cold, refreshing mountains turn blue when it's cold enough. The switch just to the right of that is your inverter remote. So yeah, we were talking about hotboxing ourselves. I don't know if we were so much as, well, I was, but I have a way, with my words here. Now, this is a wet bath. So, like, if you try to stand up in the shower, you're just going to about cold cock yourself. I didn't even bother trying it, for the video purposes here. I do like how they still include that little shower caddy. And in case you're curious, like, they don't do a shower surround panel. They're just walls. Rockwood's using Asdel in this area, which is, it itself is a waterproof material. So, it looks like wall boards, but it actually is treated in a way that is protected. Now, down here, this is where you've got the little shower miser system, and I don't know if Rockwood was the very first one to use it. I know they were one of the very first mainstream brands to use that water saver system, where if you don't know what that does, what it will do is it will recycle your shower water back into the freshwater tank, and once that blue arm starts turning white like a hypercolor 90s shirt, well, then you know. Now, you might have noticed you can use the shower sprayer there as your favorite rock and roll concert thing. And then back here, this is interesting because you're like, well, where do I keep the butt napkins? Well, they keep it inside a baggage door, which is, you don't see a baggage door inside an RV very much. But frankly, it's kind of brilliant because if you think about it, baggage doors are sealed from the weather on the outside of the RV. So if you're taking a shower on the inside of the RV, which is effectively creating rain inside the camper, well, it should work pretty awful well. And just like I was saying, nothing says you have to use the table. You can get the table out the way, which is ludicrous, I know. Oh, we are knocking out the musical references today. If you get it, when you know, you know. You know? And kicking us right off here, let's talk towing. What's it going to take to yank this one around our beautiful nation here, or whatever nation you happen to be watching from, I suppose. With less than a 3,900 pound, 3,800 pound actually, GVW, only 16 foot long, some good ground clearance. I don't think you need a big 3/4 ton monster truck to haul this one around right here. I think if you had an SUV or something equivalent with like a 4,000 pound, 4,500 pound or up tow package, you'd be okay. If you wanted to take it through mountains and elevations, you're going to want to go north of that, probably minimum 4,500 pounds or more. And the more you go above that, the happier you're going to be. Because the thing is, this is a small, light, easy towing little critter. We've got double Asdel walls. GeoPros have always done that. That's actually where Rockwood started doing Asdel or Flagstaff. Rockwood calls it GeoPro. Flagstaff calls it ePro. Combined together, I call them the Rockstaff EOPro. And who knows, maybe one day that's exactly what they'll be called. Probably not for legal reasons. Full hot, cold outside utility shower. You see that you've got the, aggressive knobby tire package right here, because the knobby tires obviously help the trailer stop from spinning out in the mud, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, something that I often miss on these, you can see right here, you do have a, it's got, it's fully self-contained. It's not a cassette toilet system. They don't offer that as an option. That might be a bummer for you, but this is what they do right here, where they've got the, single sewer outlet and sewer hose caddy tube system right there. And in case you're curious, you can see how the spare tire is belly mounted on this one. Very handy considering you now have, for the 2023 updates, a rear receiver hitch on this, which is really, really awesome. Be careful with that, though. The more weight you go loading behind the axle, the worse the RV is going to tow. However, With this being a very short camper, the effect of that difference will be drastically reduced. Now, something interesting here, the body width of the camper itself is 7 foot. But between things like the awning, notice how the wheel wells actually stick out past the RV body. The RV's axle is wider than the body itself. That will add some nice stability, which single axle campers can greatly benefit from. But what I like on this is all the stuff that's like standard here that sometimes isn't offered on a lot of single axle campers, like power tongue jack, maybe 50-50. But rock staff always kicking it up a notch, like with the little wheel, so that you can hand push it around, say like if you're trying to weave it into the corner of a barn or shed or something paved, you know. Double propane tanks as well is one I always like to point out on these, because very few single axle campers have that kind of benefit going on. Now over on the side here, you have a simple side mount solar prep plug to go along with the roof solar package. Standard 200 watts of solar up on the roof. You can add an extra panel like we've seen today. And those side panels, they can go up to 20 amps worth of solar. So, you know, you could probably get like a, I don't know, 100, 200 watt panel going on up there. My brain just, it's like, anyway. Keyless deadbolt system right here is actually really handy if you're gonna go biking or kayaking or hiking or anything, and you don't want to worry about accidentally losing your keys. It gives you a good place to do that. And something that just still kind of baffles me on these, as nice as this camper is, they've only ever done them with a single outside speaker. That has always just kind of, you can tell by the fact that my voice went up an octave at the last sentence there. It's just weird, but it kind of doesn't bother me too much because I don't know that I'd use it a lot. I like to bring a portable Bluetooth with me because it sounds better, and it's local to like where I'm sitting. I can actually keep the volume down and hear it better. Now, you may have noticed we are right up next to the road, as the loud sound indicated right there. Like Jimi Hendrix said, we are getting a lot of crosstown traffic currently. I don't think that's exactly what he meant by that, but neither here nor there. The griddle station that we're looking at is standard, and a lot of brands have started copying what Rockstaff has been doing for years here. Your gas grill quick connect located just behind the tires. I do like how they kind of angled it away and inward so that it's not in the direct line of fire if those knobby tires fling a rock off the back of this. The baggage doors that this does have the handy magnet holdbacks, which is very cool. Means that the door's not, you know, likely to drop on your head and bonk you or something like that, which is cool. And again, for the 23 season, they finally added a rear hitch on the back of this, which I was really, really glad to see. This is perfect for things like bike racks, maybe a portable generator off the back of it or something like that, because it has a 300-pound load limit. And if you look down here, you actually get a glimpse into some of the construction of these. And I actually have a full video tour going through their Geo Pro facilities, and actually almost all of the Rockwood facilities in different videos. Anything that they build in-house, they make a welded aluminum cage for anything that is load-bearing like that. So if it's seating, if it's bedding, or in this case both, it has a welded aluminum cage, which is cool. And the number of single axle campers that have a factory standard ladder, I can count them on one hand, because one of them's Rockwood and one of them's Geo Pro, and that's pretty much it. Anyway, giving you a peek up top there. A couple things, you see that Max Air roof vent cover, which is fantastic for the, exhausting the heat in the kitchen, as well as keeping the airflow going through those frameless windows. But you see, once again, you've got 200 watts of factory standard solar, but the second panel is an available factory option. So what can you do if the one that you're shopping only has a single solar panel in stock, but, well, you want more? Well, if you're like Freddie Mercury and you want it all and you want it now, give us a call, because basically we can do just about everything for you. You want us to slap an extra solar panel up there, we can do it. Short of moving a wall in an RV, there's very little we can't do. I will tell you, we cannot add slide awnings to this RV, however. And if you're wondering why, it's because it has no slides. One last little note here, you can see how they're still using a traditional gas and electric water heater. A lot of RV brands are going to tankless, and I don't have a lot of experience using tankless water heaters, especially in a boondock scenario where I tend to park camp myself, so I'm a little limited in that regard. But listening to the comments from the viewers like you at home, what I'm learning is that gas electric water heater seems to be the preferred option for folks who do get away from the parks and get off the pavement and basically get away from people. I just spent, at the time I'm recording this, my last week down at Universal Studios, and I had a blast. But I'm definitely glad to be back in my sleepy little town away from just so many people. Every now and then, I get why people camp away from the park sometimes. I totally do. Neither here nor there. If you appreciate what we're doing for you, make sure you hit that subscribe button and check the link in the video description. If we have one in stock, it will be right there with pricing listed. If not, our team can help fill in the blanks for you. Our website will always show you what's currently on hand at all of our stores across the nation. So when you're ready, we're ready. We don't do hidden dealer fees. We just do everything else to take care of you. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.